the computer. So I hope everyone's well. This is welcome to So You Want to Be a Director. That's basically the title of these trainings going forward. And what just so you know, these are going to be like well, my plan is to have them as a bit of a monthly thing for you guys that are star to superstar across the whole of the squad, so that we can come up with some leadership ideas. We can share some ideas of different things that you can do with your teams. Some months it might be like a really open forum where you can literally just come in and ask questions and be like, how the hell do I do this? Or, you know, what can I do to make this better? Or maybe we'll have a month that's just on like ideas for recognition or whatever. We literally can cater these to whatever you need. But the idea behind them is that you've got an opportunity. Those of you that want to be a director, those of you that want to be, someone said to me the other week that they want to be in that director WhatsApp chat, and that must be the thing to, because we talk about it probably quite a lot, saying like how much we just converse. Like Nick's on tonight and she'll tell you we literally just talk, don't we, Nick? Like we literally just chat. And it is a really nice environment on there. It's not anything special, but it is a nice environment on there. I think we've got a lovely group. So that's what these trainings are going to be all about, how to close that gap, if you like, between star to superstar. I'm going to put Nick on the spot because I'm going to ask her to speak first, because Nick actually double promoted from star to director, and at the time Nick and I probably both say there wasn't really a plan. We were winging it. Were we winging it, Nick? We was winging life, like literally.
That's in my notes.
Good. But ever since, you know, Nick's gone from strength to strength. And I don't want to say all the things that she'll probably go, you just said all the things I was going to say, but Nick's gone from strength to strength. And when I remember the conversation when she hit star, I remember messaging her going, Nick, I don't think it's just going to be star this month. I think it's going to be bigger than that. I think it's going to be, sorry, when you hit superstar. And I remember saying to you, I don't think it's just superstar. I think directors on the cards. And she was like, no. But I'm going to pass over to her so she can give you that story first, because I think it's really inspiring for you to hear about from someone that's literally jumped 2 promotions. It happened in 1 month. There wasn't a plan. And yeah, she's just going to give you her story. So Nick, sorry, I know that you said to me, I'm going to ring you, but you didn't. So I'm guessing you know exactly what you're talking about. So I'm going to spotlight you so that you can introduce yourself. So hey.
Hello everyone. I'm not sure if there's people on that don't know me, but for those, if you are, my name is Nicola Wilson and I am a director. I joined Sensi in April 2018 and I promoted to director November of that year. So it was sort of 7 months. So super quick. And yeah, complete whirlwind, if I'm honest. And when Lisa did say about doing this to like Zoom tonight and what it was about, I sort of said, well, you know, I'm quite happy to talk, but I haven't really got any experience for preparing to be a director or anything like that, because I simply didn't. You know, as Lisa just said, it was a complete and utter surprise for me, I think for everybody. But also, and then she was like, no, that's absolutely brilliant, because it will also show the people that are sitting there at star, and, you know, maybe you've just promoted to superstar or you've been at superstar for a long time. You might not even be getting paid at title, but it can happen. This season is, you know, anything can happen. So where was I? It was November, and I was star consultant. I was always and have always been a pretty high PRV person, which I always say it helps, because then you're relying less on your team. So the more PRV you get, the less you're relying on the team, and that goes throughout the whole thing. You know, if you're a lead consultant and you smash 1,000 PRV every month, then, you know, you really only need that person to just be active to get paid at title, and so on. So, you know, I've always been a pretty high PRV girl, and I had a couple of people in my team that were really sort of high PRVers as well. Now, I'm not talking ridiculously high. There are people nowadays that absolutely get such high PRV, it blows my mind, and I just think, how on earth? But, you know, pretty good PRV is a brilliant start for you. So, you know, always first is working your own business before doing anything else. So that November for me was like a month of two halves. I was just star, but I didn't really have, say, goals as such. We didn't write down goals. You know, it was very different to what it is now, Sensei. You know, Lisa had not been doing it a year. I was relatively new to it. There wasn't the trainings that there is now. It was a very, very different Sensei then. And, you know, we were all learning, as we still are now, but we was obviously, you know, learning a lot more. And we didn't really write goals down or anything like that. That's how we've developed since. My only goal was getting that trip. There was an incentive trip on. And for me, it is always about those trips. I absolutely love to travel. And the minute they say an incentive trip is when I'm like, boom, I've got to get that trip. And so there was a trip up for grabs, and that is what I wanted. I didn't see at all director, didn't, you know, wasn't even in my radar, but my promotion was to superstar. And so I was getting pretty good figures, as I say, because of my high PRV, and my team then I think grew to 13. And so I had superstar in my sights, and I knew that if I promoted, I was going to get my points for the trip. And I remember that day so well, and Lisa probably does as well. We were meeting at Costa in Canvey. I think Claire Watson, Tanya Allwood were there. And that's when the system updated, and I actually, like, it was official that I've got the trip, and I was absolutely over the moon. And it's because I'd promoted superstar. And that was probably the first half of that month. So, you know, anyone sitting, like when people write off the month at the beginning is, you know, such a big mistake, because, you know, a month is a long time this time of year because so much can happen. And you just keep having to work that month until the very, very end because so much can happen. And then it was sort of after then, my figures just kept going up and up, and still it hadn't sort of dawned on me. And Lisa was saying, Nick, you could hit director. You could really hit director. And I was like, no, it's not, you know, no way. And it did, it happened. And I remember she actually phoned me. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning girl. I'm not an early riser. And she knew before I did. That's how sort of, I'm not going to say oblivious. I knew I was obviously very close at that point, but I didn't know it'd be like that night. And when the system updated, she obviously woke up, checked her figures, because I was not used to doing any of that. And she checked her figures and she phoned me, she went to the director. And I was like, we just couldn't believe it, we're blown away. So that was in 1 month. So there was no preparation. I didn't have a Facebook group for my team. I had a messenger group, which I still have nowadays, which actually lots of people sort of think not to in the size of my team, but actually it works for my team. I'm generally not in there very much. I'm more present on my Facebook account group. But the messenger group works well for my team. Anyway, so that was that. And there was, it just sort of hit me, and there was no preparation or anything. So, you know, 3 years down the line, we now learn that, you know, a lot of you superstar directors, you've got your Facebook pages up and running, you're doing lots of the trainings, you're doing a lot of the things that we're already doing. And so I think the transition is probably, I'm going to say easier, but I don't mean easy, because it is such a massive thing getting director, and it is mind-blowing and it's amazing and all of those things, and it can be daunting because you don't become director overnight. But I think nowadays, with everything that's available to us all, with the trainings and stuff, and what, you know, Lisa, you know, feeds down to us and what we feed down to our teams, is that when people hit superstar, generally they've got their Facebook groups up and running, and they're starting to do those leadership things, and so it becomes a bit more of a natural progression and a transition to director. So my top tips, I would say, is you have got to want it. And I don't mean just director, whether it's promotion, whether it's a trip. You know, a trip means points, which means hard work. And at the end of the day, it's the hard work that's going to get you up the ladder for whatever, or get your goals, or get whatever it is, the suitcases, whatever. At the end of the day, you have got to run your business. Put your team aside. It's about you selling Scentsy and, you know, coming across as a really attractive person, like business, and making it really attractive to people. So you have got to be passionate. You've got to be excited. Hold on, I've got this written down on here. You've got to enjoy it, and you've got to be yourself. It is no good, you know, watching someone else and trying to be them, because you can't pretend to be someone else. And people on your groups, you know, some of them will know you, some of them won't know you. They'll only know you as a consultant, but it won't come across genuine. And you probably hear it a lot, you know, be authentic, be genuine. It's so true. And I think, well, I am a very excitable person. I'm all like this, and, you know, I am very excitable. I'm like a big kid, but I think that's really helped me in my business, because it comes across. Well, back in the day when we used to do parties, I would be, you know, absolutely scared as anything, you know, really, really nervous until it all started. And then, you know, once I start talking about Scentsy, you know, it all comes out, and my passion comes through, and my excitement. And that in turn helps your business. It helps you get sales. People are going to get excited with you. You know, if you're just standing there saying, yeah, this is fine, you know, yeah, this ain't bad, it's all right, it's a bit expensive, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. No one's going to buy into your business. So those 4 things: be excited, be passionate, enjoy it. You've got to enjoy it, and be yourself. And all of those things will come across in your groups. And when you're having your relationships with your customers, and you're dropping things off, and you're happy, and you're chatting about it, and you might talk about a scent, and you'll go, oh my God, I love it. You know, wait till you smell that scent. You're going to absolutely love it. You know, the conversations I have like that all the time, that is going to help your business. And in turn, that leads to all of those bigger things: PRV, building your business, getting those promotions, earning those trips, and going up the ranks. It all stems from how you are as a person, and people buy into you. They can get Scentsy pretty much everywhere. You know, local to me, there's Scentsy consultants everywhere, but they buy it from you for a reason. And that is the biggest thing. So be yourself. You know, they're on your group for a reason, because they like you. So don't try and mimic someone else. That's my first thing. My second thing is the consistency thing. You've just got to keep going. And my trip to director was really, really quick. However, it didn't last. And, you know, that's another story for another time. But it doesn't have to be quick. It can take time. You know, me and Lisa went to Belfast, and on the front row, she'll remember, these people, they call out your ranks, and you stand up and clap everyone. And there was these people that had obviously been year in, year out. They knew Holly. They knew the people that were there. And we thought, oh my God, they must be like SSDs, whatever. They were like certified and lead consultants. They'd been there years, but they were still going. Now, good for them, I say. And they're probably better people than I am, because if I was there 10 years down the line still certified, I probably would have given up. But, you know, these people, they obviously love it, and they get on, and they're consistent. And that has got to be the biggest thing. You can't, Scentsy is just like any other business, and it will have lows, it will have highs, and it will have everything in between. And you've just got to ride the storm. You've got to go with it. You've got to enjoy the highs. You've got to get through the lows, and just keep going, because any business is the same. It's not always going to be good. And most of us experienced that last month. You know, August was not a great month. But you know what? So what? It's summer holidays. You tell me a business that thrives. It's normally the holiday industry. But apart from that, most businesses are really, really quiet. And the good thing a bit about our business is we can just step away. We can, you know, I decided that I was going to take time out in August. I sort of, you know, I had my goal. My goal was to get 1,000 to make sure I got consistency points for PRV. And I did that. Barely, but I did it. And that was my goal. And as long as I got that, I was happy. But I chose to take time out because I needed to, for me, for my family, and I just wanted that break. But we can do that. We haven't got overheads with Scentsy. You know, you tell me another business where you haven't got to worry about staff, you haven't got to worry about overheads, you haven't got to pay rent for somewhere. you know, all right, our commissions are not going to be high if we take time out, but that is the worst that can happen. So it's a great business to be in, but you have to ride the storm. And those that get through those tough months are the ones that will make it to director or above. In the end, it doesn't matter how long it will take, you have just got to keep going. And that is a really, it's boring. Consistency, you've probably heard it loads of times before, but that is my biggest key. And you know, I am quite consistent, and you know, sort of, that's probably one of the better things that I am, is that I am consistent. And so, you know, it works for me. And what was my third thing? You've got to believe you can do it. Now, this is what it doesn't come easy to me, because I never really believed that I could do anything like this at all. And this is a big learning thing, but you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to have that little bit of, you know, the mindset thing has to come in there. And again, it's not easy for a lot of people. You know, for me, I really struggle with that, but I'm learning. At first, I didn't have any of that. Very sort of, you know, no self-belief. I am getting there, but you have got to believe it will happen. If you're very negative, it will just, you know, it will feed down into your team, and that's not going to do anyone any good. So you've got to believe that you can do it, because you will. And it's the same with the goals and the, you know, the mindset. Have your vision board up. All of those things really do work. And you know, you might sit there and think it's a load of old baloney, like I used to. My husband's done it for years, and I used to really take the mick out of him and go, oh, it's a load of old crap. But it does actually work. And one thing I've just done with my team, which a few of us directors have, and it was good old Kirsty England come up with this idea. And it was really to show our teams what they mean to us. And obviously, with August being so tough, morale was quite low in, you know, through most of the teams. And so we sent a little treat to our teams, a few of us, for different reasons. And I chose to do all of my frontline just to let them know that actually they're really appreciated. You know, the people at the top of the tables and the people that aren't. And I'm not going to say bottom, because I don't really like that. But the people that aren't, they might choose to just have their business not as a business as such, just as a hobby. And that's absolutely fine. They still mean as much to me as anyone else. And so I treated all of my team. Now, all this throwing out positivity into the universe, it comes back. So true, because the messages that I've come back from that is just unbelievable. And it was so lovely. It done exactly what it was supposed to. It cheered everyone up. And I actually didn't expect it to have that much of an effect. And the messages that I got back was just brilliant. And so it's all about that mindset thing. Be positive, and if what you give sort of comes back to you tenfold, because I just think it's all the positive stuff. If you're really, really portraying the positive thing and you're putting all those vibes out there, it comes back to you. And I just think it's a really, really important thing. So again, it's nothing you've not heard of before. You know, Lisa, you know, Laura Sawkins is our mindset whiz. She's just, you know, amazing at all that stuff. And if we can just take a tiny little bit of that, then, you know, we're learning. But it really is important to have that positive mindset. And, you know, we can all sit there and we can all moan and we can all say, oh, you know, I've got rubbish PRV. And it's like, well, what have you actually done for that PRV? You know, have you actually tried to get any PRV? You know, and a lot of people haven't, and so they've only got themselves to blame. So you've just, at the end of the day, you've got to work, be happy, be positive, you know, attract people to your business. If they see that you're happy and positive and all of those things, it's attractive, and that will feed down. And be consistent, keep going, and eventually you will be a director, I guarantee it. And that's about it, really. I don't really know what else to say.
That's fab, Nick. I think it's really important for people to hear that, like, you double promoted, and I think yeah, it's really, really good to hear that, because there'll be some people sitting here that maybe are just hitting their star figures that are thinking, actually, I'm a really long way off of director, but actually like you said, you had absolutely no idea it was going to happen. There was no planning for it. There was no, at the beginning of the month, right, I'm going to be a director by the end of this month. And look what happened. So I think it's really important for people to hear that. So hopefully there might be some people sitting there thinking, oh, actually, hold on a minute, this actually could happen.
Anything can happen. This time of the year, literally anything can happen. And whether it's in your sights or not, literally, if you're sitting there at Star and you get quite good figures, you might not even know, you might have 3 people join your team. If they all get 2,000 PRV, wallop, you're nearly there. So you just don't know. Literally like that, it could happen. And yeah, it could
happen in the blink. I think as well, with the sale that we've had this month, I actually think we might have had a sale or something similar, because there was something big that happened at the beginning of the month when you hit director. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it might have been one of the first flash sales. And I think we had orders was just absolutely crazy. And when you look at the GWV at the moment, there are some of you guys that are maybe on here tonight that might be over like 2,000 GWV already. Now, when it gets, I normally say 15th of the month, double it. If you're already, it's the 7th and you're already on 2,000, technically by the 15th, you could be on 4,000. Technically by the 30th, you could be on 8,000. And I'm going to talk about the compensation plan a little bit in a minute, in terms of going for director, which hopefully will open your eyes to, you know, where you're getting paid, how you're getting paid, and, you know, where your teammates are coming, where it's coming from, if you like. A little bit more breakdown, because as I say, we didn't have a clue back in the day, Nick, and I hold my hands up. It was more just about actually motivating everybody and exciting everybody, and exactly like Nick said, showing her passion and getting excited for a team. And
I think you'd only been director about 3 or 4 months yourself, hadn't you? So we was all so new to it.
Yeah,
and it's just so different now to what it was then.
And you was my director. That obviously I hit star director when you hit director. So I was like, only my 2nd ever director, Nick was. And I think at the time, I think because you had when Nick first joined, guys, she had no intention of it being a business. It was like, I just want free stuff. And then it was like, oh, hold on a minute, I can get a holiday. Oh, hold on a minute, I'm going to do a bit more. And she realised what a natural she was at it. It was all that selling Ann Summers back in the day. See, it had an impact. Dark horse down Nicola Wilson. She'd be like, I can't believe you said that. But honestly, but it's these things I think you need to hear, and hearing other people's stories, I think really inspire. I think it gets you all excited. So thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. So I'll take you off spotlight, and obviously you don't have to stay on, Nick, but obviously you're welcome to stay as well. But I know that you've probably got other things to do, so but you're welcome. So thank you. So that then leads me on tonight, guys. So what some of the things I'm going to talk about is how you can motivate, inspire, and excite your teamies, and hopefully that will you know, give you some ideas. But first, I want to talk about a little bit about the compensation plan, and just to go through it. And if you've got questions, I want you to put them in the box, because I know that a lot of people sometimes still look at the compensation plan and go, do you know what, it still absolutely baffles me. And if you're one of them, please just say, yeah, I'm one of them. I'm literally got no idea what's going on, got no idea how I get paid, and I'm just, you know, I get excited if I just hit my figures, and that's all that matters. Because you know what, that was definitely, as we were just saying, that was us, you know, like that was how we ran it. It literally was, did I get my 500? Did I get my active frontline? And that was about it. Am I going to get paid at title? And the rest just became exciting as we went along. So I'm just going to share my screen with you quickly. Excuse my desktop, because I've got a lot open. You can see these two, hopefully. Just someone say, yeah, let me know. Can you see them all right, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, so
and if I can see them,
everyone else can see them, yeah. So I'm going to talk about this quickly, because I don't want to elaborate on this too much, because this isn't necessarily something that I was actually going to talk about. And then I was talking to Tan and Claire earlier on before I came on, and I was like, what else would you cover? And Tan was like, definitely the compensation plan. She said people ask about it all the time, and especially with what you're aiming for in terms of going for director. So Sarah said already, like, never have a clue what I get paid. I just aim. Do you know what, Sarah? I still don't know what I'm going to get paid month on month. I sort of gauge it now by my team volume, and I sort of look at that and how many active frontline, and I can gauge whether it's going to be more or less.
Biscuit?
But
drink.
Oh, let me just unmute. That's it. I think that's it. I think everyone's muted now. Right. So in terms of your what you're aiming for, this is what you're aiming for to hit director. And it's not much different to those of you that are star consultants and superstar consultants already. It's not much different, apart from there's one figure that's going to be different, and that's your GWV. So 500 PRV you're looking for. So this is looking at the one on the right. 500 PRV, that's a non-negotiable for, you know, whether you're superstar director, whether you're a star director, a director, everybody. To get paid on your team, you need your minimum of 500. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest. If I'm honest, I don't think 500 PRV cuts it. And this is me being like real, this is the cutthroat. And this is why I think I hit director quickly. This is why one of the reasons why I think Nick hit director quickly, because we always did a minimum of about 1,500 PRV and upwards. And we actually probably, when we were hitting director, I was probably doing 2,000 PRV upwards. I think the month I hit director, I did 2,600 PRV or something ridiculous. And how I look at it is, the more PRV that you do, the less your team have got to do. So if you're aiming to get to superstar consultant, for example, and you manage to do 2,000 PRV, for example, then that means that your team are going to have to do a hell of a lot PRV, less PRV than if you bring in, say, 500 PRV. And if you bring in 500 and you know, you just settle for that 500, which there's nothing wrong with, but expect it to take you a little bit longer, because it means that you're leaving more for your team to do. And what tends to happen is, when you do less than, you know, your 1,500 or even 1,000, you do less. Well, if you do less than 1,000, you're not going to get incentive points for starters. You won't get your consistency points. Obviously, you're going to leave more for your team to do. You miss out on your 30% bonus, because over 2,000 PRV, you're going to get paid 30% and not 25%. Everyone wants that extra 5%. It's like 650 quid you get paid just on 2,000 PRV. That's without your team even entering one PRV at all. You're going to get £650 no matter what by just doing 2,000 PRV a month. And that is a pretty good wage, isn't it? I mean, I know that is a pretty standard. I know a lot of people would love £650 a month to be coming in. Some people would say to me, Lise, I could give up my job for that. And do you know what? Amazing. So that's something to think about, that going for that higher PRV. Not only that, obviously you're leaving your team less to do, and this thing called leading from the front. You've probably heard me say this so many times, okay? When you're leading from the front, it basically means your team are going to copy you, whatever you do. Think about it this way. So look at what I do in the squad. If I go live and I show picnic boxes, for example, people will go and have a go at doing picnic boxes, not because they're copying me, but they're inspired. If I show people how I got 2,000 PRV, they're more likely to try some of the things that I did to get 2,000 PRV. If I show people how I recruited somebody and the messages that I send out, people are likely to say, oh, I'd like to have a go at that. And they might try and do that. So if I show people, oh, look, I've got £180 credit to spend because of all my orders I've put in, this is how I did the orders, this is how I got them, straight away, again, people are going to try that again. People are literally going to try that. So that's what leading from the front is all about. It's basically you creating an example to share with your team. But it's not just about saying, look at the PRV I've done, because I've seen people do that before. There's another person I can think of, and I've seen before, not in our company, and they basically show how much they get in sales, but I've never seen them say, this is what I got in sales. Here's some ideas of things that you could do to get that. That's what leading from the front is all about. That's how to inspire and how to motivate. Just saying, I've got 2,800 PRV in sales, whoop, whoop, go me, and I got it all from my mystery bags or whatever, and then not actually giving any details on that. I don't think that's particularly inspiring. I want the nooks and the crannies, the workings out. I want to know, you know, what sort of messages you were sending people. And that's why I try to encourage you guys to share in the squad, because that's what's going to help your team and everyone else's team and everybody, and me included. It's going to inspire others, and it's going to help you to get the 2000 PRV. So I've gone off on a bit of a tangent already, but I have covered some of my points. So you also need 10,000 GWV. Ignore the TWV at the moment. And then you also need 3 active frontline. The TWV only comes in if you've got another director under you. And we can talk about that another time. So from that, you're going to get paid 25%. You're going to get a 9% bonus on your own PWV, which is basically your commissionable products. So you can work out how much your commissionable products were, and work out 9%. And work out your 9%, and then you'll be able to see that. It's actually on your breakdown of your pay as well. You will get 9% on all of your frontline. So anyone you recruited, that is a certified or an essential consultant. So if you've got an amazing certified consultant that's never recruited and they bring in 2000 PRV a month, you're going to get 9% of that 2000 PRV that they do. Absolutely incredible. My certified consultants, and I will add the income disclosure statement on this, my certified consultants, I think on my frontline, I earn about £600 a month from, which is a hell of a lot of money. That a hell of a lot of money in terms of like my team. But that's because it's so high, that 9%. It obviously goes down as they start to increase in like level. So whether they're lead, star and director, but it's because you start to look at their team volume, which basically is their group volume. Same thing, TWV group volume, same thing. And that's all you've got to think of. And obviously you earn a percentage. So if you wanted to work that out, say you had 4-star consultants that all did 2,500 TWV, that's going to be 10,000. So that's going to be your 10,000 TWV, which would mean you'd hit director. Just saying, 4-star consultants is all you need. And obviously you would earn on those 5% of that, which is quite a lot of money. Okay, quite a lot of money. So now I've probably lost some of you in terms of like the figures that I'm talking about, but for a director, it's this 10,000 that you need to be looking for. So at the moment, most of you are star or superstar. So at the moment, you're looking at this figure here, 2,500 to get paid at title, or 6,000. Now that is a big old jump, but again, if you are bringing in your 2,000 PRV, star consultant should be easy peasy with 3 active frontline and your 2,000 PRV. It's this one where you've got to help your team to do slightly bigger PRV for this figure to change, for this figure to become, and obviously your team's got to grow. Realistically, you need more than 3 people, I would suggest, unless you've got, 4 rock stars. And let me talk about rock stars. They're few and far between. And I've said this about like Nick before, for example. I'd probably recruited 15 people before I sponsored Nick. Maybe actually Nick, I think you were actually quite an early on consultant.
Yeah, I reckon.
I might have had about a team of 10 when you joined. My ratio that I say to people is 1 in 10 are going to be a rock star. 1 in 10 are going to want to work. 1 in 10 are going to stick it out. 1 in 10 are going to be here for longevity. And that's just me going from like experience within how big my frontline is. So my frontline is about 80 or 90 frontline I've got at the moment. And my average is about 30 of them to 40, between 30 to 40 that are active every month. And out of those, 10 of them are directors. And then there's probably another 6 or 7 in there, maybe a few more, 8 or 9 maybe, that are gunning for it, that literally want to be a director or want to grow a team. And when you look at the ratios, it's not very big. So I know when some of you have said to me before, my team just don't want it. I'm like, it's okay. Look at what's going on within my teams. Yes, it's on a bigger scale, but actually if we take a small chunk of that and we cut it into chunks, my team probably looks no different to all of your teams. It's just that it's on a much bigger ratio. Okay, so that's a little bit about the compensation plan. Has anyone got any questions in terms of the compensation plan? Anything that literally you've been itching to ask? Now I did the little, while you're typing, if anyone is typing, just one of the points there for you. To get this 10,000, 4-star consultants paid at title. So 2,000, sorry, I've got to sit down, I'm really uncomfortable. 4 star consultants paid at title you would hit director with. When you look at it like that, it's like just finding those magic 4 that want to be star consultants and that want to be, paid at title and literally are gunning for it like you. So that's your magic number. Okay. I actually think the magic number is more like 6 in terms of your frontline I'm talking about. Okay, so no questions coming in about that at the moment. So if you've got any questions, I'll come back to it. I'm just going to stop the share at the minute. Okay. I don't think there's any questions. I'm trying to check the chat as I go. Charlotte said I had high PRV but no team until recently. You've got a team though now, haven't you, Charlotte? You've got quite a few now, haven't you? And I've only got paid at title at once. Now, I want you to just think about, at the moment, we're about to go into, Nick called it the season of dreams, and it is the season of dreams. The next few months are the months where you can build, you can grow, and your PRV can grow, and you can build your customer base. All of those things should become natural. The next few months, your keyword is about growth. So, and that's what I would call your keyword for the next few months. It literally is all about growing. This is where people will suddenly go, do you know what? I want to earn a little bit of money for Christmas. I'm going to join. Or this is where, suddenly some of your teamies will start getting orders without necessarily trying. That's probably not the right word. But because people are starting to think about Christmas and they're starting to think about Halloween and they're starting to think about all of those things, especially when the Harvest Catalogue launches, this is where anything can change and it goes a little bit crazy. And suddenly you start believing because you're going to see it. Yeah, okay. So been paid at title every month, but when I think to get in superstar, other teams, Dom, hit me up with what that is. So just a few things. Sorry.
Hang on, sorry, by mistake, so I'm just finishing it off.
I do that all the time. All the time. It's when I'm in a rush and I'm like trying to do it quick. So some of the things for you guys is obviously as the month goes through, it's looking at those people that could potentially get paid at title. So look at your teams. If you've never done it before, go on to the reporting tab, click downline report, and it'll bring up everybody in your whole team. And it looks like a whole bunch of numbers, and you think, oh my God, how am I ever going to look at this? And then the 2 columns you want to look at is their GWV and look at their PRV. And they're the things that you want to be looking at. Who's getting close to, and have the compensation plan next to you. I always have, this book is literally always on my desk, and that's your consultant guide. And on the about 3rd or 4th page in, your compensation plan's there. So when you're looking at reporting, you can bring that up. So if it still bewilders you, for ages, I used to be like, I need to get this out. It's only now that I know it because I have those conversations over and over and over and over again. But so that if you need to get that out, put it next to you and then have a look. See who's like halfway to, that next promotion point by the middle of the month. See who's kickstarted the first week really, really quickly and gone off absolutely storming. And then it's a case of messaging them and keeping that excitement going, spotting those things. I can't tell you how many people love to get a message from me, you guys included, they're all on here, saying, oh my God, what an incredible start to the month you've made. Your PRV is insane. I still like to get those messages now. When I was talking to our upline SSD the other day, and she was saying some really lovely things about our team. And that I felt like was a real reflection on like what we've done and what we've achieved and what we've created. And I was like, so lovely to get that feedback. So it's the same for you guys, reaching out to people in your team, someone that you've seen has done the most amazing PRV. Reach out to them one-on-one. Don't just put it in your group text. Reach out to them one-on-one. Give them that real gushy, feely message. Give them all the feels that you like. When you get my emails that say, oh my God, or your direct emails saying, you're absolutely smashing it and you're doing this and you're an absolute rock star. I'm so pleased for you. I don't like to say I'm so proud of you because I always feel like it's like talking to my kids for some reason. And I find that really hard to say. I don't know why. I am always proud of people, but it just doesn't roll off my tongue very well. So I'm always like, I'm so happy for you. I'm actually cheerleading you from the rooftops. And then make a note of them. I bought this whiteboard here so that because I've got the worst memory in the world, so that I can make a note of people, that have started off the month really well, and then I'm like, right, I'm going to check in with them every week and just see how they're doing, especially like if their PRV doesn't move, but they've put in a smashing great order right at the beginning of the month. Just checking in with them and being like, oh my God, not asking for orders. And I've written this, I actually wrote this down. Okay, so this is all about your delivery. I never ever say to someone, have you got an order to go in? When are you ordering? Or you really should put an order in, like none of those things will ever come out of my mouth. You've never seen me say them, you'll never hear me say them, unless you're literally like 10 PRV away from getting paid as a director. I will be messaging you going, please tell me you're putting an order in, because you're literally going to leave about £700 on the table. And normally then someone will come back to me and go, yes, it's going in, it's just a bit late, it's on its way. That's the only time when I've got that relationship with people that I would say that. But I never ever ask for orders. It's more about saying to people, how are you getting on this month? Your PRV was absolutely amazing at the beginning of the month. And are you working on an order? Or you don't even need to say that. You could just literally say, is there anything I can help you with? Did you see the mystery bags that I've shown this month? All of those little things, you can word it in a way where actually under the surface, yes, you're saying, have you got any orders to go in? But you're not actually physically saying it, because something you need to remember is all of these little tips are things that you're helping them. You're not doing it for you. Yes, okay, if they bring in 2,500 GWV and they're one of your star consultants, you can tick them off. Absolutely amazing. Of course, it's going to help you and your figures. But this is what this business is all about. It's a circle. So we help our team members and it helps us. And we help our team members and it helps us. And we help our team members and their lives get better because they get a little bit of like what we're seeing, and they get that passion and that excitement and that drive, all those things that we're seeing. And yes, and in turn, yes, we might get incentive trips, and in turn we get, paid at title. But that's how this business works. And if people don't like that, they're in the wrong business. That's brutal, but it's true. If you don't like the fact that your PRV helps your upline, you're in the wrong business. Simple as that. It's the wrong business. So because it is, they're going to get paid on you regardless, and vice versa, you're going to get paid on them. So that's something you've almost got to get that out of your head. And then you've got to think, actually, I'm doing it to help them. I'm doing it to change their life. I'm doing it to show them, look, actually, I'm really excited because one of my team this month, I've said to her, you could hit lead this month. And she's like, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. And I know what that impact can have for her, because this takes me on to my next point. I know they're wise. How many of you really struggle to motivate your teams? I know you're all going to put yes for this. Say yes, or give me a wave. Give me a yes, I do. I don't want to bang my head against a brick wall. Yeah? Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Do you want to know the truth? You can't motivate them. The only person that has motivated you 12 people tonight to get on this call, including Leah, and I think Leah has jumped off now because she's got COVID, lover. But the only person that motivated you to get on this call was you. The only person that brought you to, Kel, it was who struggles to motivate their teams. And I said, the bottom line of it is you can't motivate them. You can't. And I probably get asked that question the most. I reckon people say to me, how can I motivate them? And I'd say, you can't. It's simple as that. You can't. You can't motivate someone to go and get a job. You can't motivate someone to want to earn money. You can't motivate someone to eat healthily. You can't motivate someone to drink 3 litres of water a day, to exercise. You can't motivate someone to sell Sensi. They've got to do it because they want to do it. And when you find those people, it's like gold dust. Hold on to them and treat them like gold, I tell you. When you find those people that are self-motivated, they're the ones that you're looking for. You're looking for those, self-motivators. Now, a self-motivator can still have self-doubt, can still have no belief in themselves. And there's probably some of you that are thinking, yeah, I'm like that. I'm motivated, but I don't believe I can do it most of the time. And then some of you get quite demotivated because your team aren't motivated by you, and you think that it's you that's the problem. And I'm telling you this now, it's not. It's not. If you are sharing with them and you're, sharing ideas with them, or you're tagging them in trainings that you've seen that you think would be good for them, or, you're trying your best to work with them and you're messaging them saying, shall we work together a little bit closer? And you're doing all of those things, If they then still are giving you nothing, there is nothing you can do about that. All you can do is keep trying, keep that line of communication open, and hope that one day they say yes. And if they ever turn around and say, oh, I never got any support, you can hold your hands on your heart and you can say, well, actually, here's all the messages that prove otherwise. Because when we do get to director, you do have, it's in the standards now, it's been changed, a responsibility to work with your teams. So what you want to do is find out from your teams, who is it that is motivated? And you can't, I don't really want you to say, do you feel that you're motivated? But a question like, what do you want to get out of your Scentsy business is a really great question for your front lines. Do you see yourself promoting, or why? What's your why? So I'm going to ask you all this tonight. If you've never done it, this is a really powerful thing to do. I struggle so much to do all the time, all the things that you do. I think it's just, do you know what, Sarah? I'm going to give you something that's going to help with that tonight, because I've got I've got 2 other things that are on my home screen, and I'm going to give them to you, and you're going to love me forever, because I'm going to change that. So, and it's not all the things that I do, because trust me, I look like I do a lot, but actually I need that mug, you know, that says I look like I'm working, but actually I'm really not. It's like thinking, what's that mug? You know, that's quote, that is me. I look like I do a lot, but actually I don't. But so one of the things I want you to do is to write down, not tonight, you don't need to do this now while we're on here, but find 5 minutes in the sun this week to write down what your why is. And I remember a conversation with Nick for a really long time where she said, I haven't got a why. And she kept saying to me, I haven't got a why. And I said, you have? And she was like, no, I haven't. And then when she got that first incentive trip, she cried. She actually cried down the phone to me. And I think in our conversation was like, Nick, you just found your why. And she was like, oh, hold on a minute. So now every time there's a new incentive trip, or there's an opportunity to earn cases or to get a trophy, oh, she's in. She's all in, like literally. Or if I say there's a trophy up for grabs, that's it. She's like, oh, I'm in. Because that, and she's like, I'm going to kill you. She's going to kill me tonight. But she's the only one I can pick on, because she's the only director that came on tonight. So, and it's like me, my why has changed massively. When I very started Scentsy, it was all about, oh, do you know what? I went live and I cried, and it was all about what was going on in my life at the time with my dad. And then it became about, oh, I don't want to go back to work. And I was doing 2 days a week, and I was like, I want to give up teaching. Suddenly then I gave up teaching, and now I'm driven by the money and being able to stay home with my kids and be a stay-at-home mummy, and do the things like today that I've been able to do, like taking Artie to school. And those things don't necessarily make me cry, but I am very driven by this. But every single person's why in this whole group tonight is completely different. So first of all, you need to know your why. If you don't know why you're doing this, you don't know why you're getting up out of bed. Like, I know that Claire, I'm sure I've seen it, has given up her work recently. Claire, am I right in saying that? You've retired yourself, haven't you? So you can smash your business.
Yeah, no, I've given up my childminding.
Childminding, yeah.
But I've taken another little job, which I don't really want to do, because I want to just do Scentsy, but I kind of at the moment can't afford.
It will just tick over at the side.
So I'm doing like a care job. So, but yeah, that's just, and it's less.
It's a bit more flexible.
Yeah, flexible. I have some days at home to grow the Scentsy more. That's my plan.
See, so. I've been watching. I see that on Facebook. But it's those type of things, like knowing that you want to Scentsy full time, if that's what you want to do. You know, like everyone, but you need to know your why first. When you know your why, you can share that with your team. And then I want you to get to know their whys. Tell me, if you could tell me, and I can't, why every single one of your frontline are doing this, then that's brilliant. That's where you want to be. Now, I can tell you all my directors pretty much why they're doing it, because I know them well. I speak to them regularly. We talk about our whys. We talk about what's challenging, you know, what we're motivated by and what we're not motivated by. I've learned what motivates some of them, what doesn't motivate others. Like money can motivate some of them and money doesn't motivate others. And, you know, it's every person is so different and so individual. So if you can find that reason why they're doing it, First of all, it will tell you who are your hobbyists. So who are your ones to let tick along and enjoy just putting in their 200 and shout them out from the rooftops and give them all the free recognition in the world and just be like, yes, you smashed getting active, and shout it from the rooftops, whether you put it on your stories, whether you go on their Facebook every now and again and do some recognition for them somewhere where it's least expected, because you're that person that needs to be doing that recognition because you're their frontline. And if you've got someone in your team that maybe is like, it's got a little team, but they don't put in any Scentsy, guess what? You're responsible for them as well. Okay? Because everybody that your team recruit are your team, because you're going to be their director until their person that recruited them becomes a director. And then you get your own first generation director as well. So you need to be looking at everybody in your whole downline. Don't just look at your frontline and be like, right, they're the only people that I'm going to communicate with. You need to communicate with everybody that your frontline recruits as well. Really, 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 really important tip. Laura and I were talking about this today, and she said, some of my leaders don't see their downlines, their whole downline, as their team. They only see their frontline as their team. And the bottom line of it is, so I can talk about some of my directors, or one or two of my directors. I've got really good relationships with like third generation directors, which basically means that someone else recruited someone and someone else recruited someone, and then they recruited that person. But I've got really good relationships. Let me tell you about this. So recently I've had someone roll up to me. Her sponsor stopped doing it, and then her sponsor stopped doing it. So these girls rolled up to me, and she hit certified, and she would have been my third generation. She wouldn't have been my front line. But again, I've got relationships with them. They know who I am, and we chat, and I motivate them all. It's a little bit different if, say, for example, you've got someone that's the same level as you underneath you. So say, for example, you're superstar consultant and they're superstar consultant. You should both probably have your own teams. And then that way you both communicate with your own teams, because they're a very separate thing. And probably more than likely, you're going to hit director at a very similar time. But that's a different story, and we can talk about that. And if you've got that situation, you can message me and I can give you some tools to work with that. But okay, I'm just conscious of the time. So I want you to think about how you're engaging with your team. When you know what their why is, how are you engaging with them? You know, how are you working with them? Is it just on a team chat, or is it one-to-one? Make sure you've got those one-to-one conversations go on. If you've got 200 PRV from messaging this magic message out to your customers, share it far and wide. If one of your team does something absolutely amazing, I don't know, creates the most amazing gift box, or, you know, donates something to charity and it looks stunning, or I don't know, they've reached out to someone and done a fundraiser and it's been really successful, get them to share it and try and encourage them to share it within your team groups. Try and encourage them to share it within the squad. And if they don't want to share it, say to them, are you happy that I share it? Because I want to show people like what you've done. It's called free recognition. It's not costing you anything. It's just costing you a little bit of time. And I know that time is something that's really of the essence. So, and your time is very precious. So if that's something you struggle with, just schedule once a week in your diary to be like, right, free recognition. Just call it free recognition. And it might be on a Friday that you've got 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and you're literally just going to look at some things that your team have done. Maybe they've shared some things in your team chat and you think that's bloody amazing. And send them that message. Could you share that in the Sense Squad? Could you share that in WaxFab, or whoever your directors group is? Could you share that here? Or give them a shout out on all the groups or on their public Facebook, tag them, get them all excited, because that little 10 minutes of free recognition, I promise you, like when I set aside 20 minutes to do my group emails to say who's in the top 100s, or if someone's smashed it, it's the free recognition which goes a really long way. And there are lots of you that are sitting here now that get that recognition month in, month out. And I guarantee it motivates you. Without you realizing, it gives you self-motivation, because straight away you're like, oh, I want to be in that top 100 again. Or actually, how lovely was that to get an email? I don't get that in my day job. Hell no, we don't get that in our day job. I know I never used to. So I'm going to wrap this up. I think I've pretty much got there, but I just want to share with you these things that I am going to put. I won't put them in the squad, but I am going to share these 2 documents with you, which I'm actually going to send you I might share them in our leaders group. So this is the first one, okay? It's a monthly leadership form. And those of you that are really struggling for time, you might like this. So really, really simple. I stole this from someone, so I didn't create it. I can't take recognition for this. So here's your, basically you've got consultant name. Let's say you've got 3 consultants, or your magic 4, that have come back to you. They're answering messages. They're trying to work with you. Write their names down. And then you're going to put a date of when you're basically going to catch up with them at some point in the month. It can be a phone call. It could be voice notes. It can be text messages. It can be an email, whatever works for you, but make it work for you. A phone call is fantastic if you can have a little phone call, because you normally end up on the phone for like an hour. It's never a quick 20 minutes if you're friends with me anyway. And then you're just going to give them 3 focuses. So get their borrow bag out. To get their borrow bag out 4 times, to have 5 joint conversations, and to share one thing in your group WhatsApp, something along those lines. And then when you've had a chat with them, you can add anything down. So say, for example, they tell you their grandma's got COVID, for example, or I don't know, their dog's not very well, or maybe it's their little boy's birthday, and they tell you one little thing on the call. Write it in the additional notes, and then that's something, it's like a follow-up form. You can check in with them at any time and go, how's your nan? How is she doing okay? Because it's little things like that that go a really, really long way. A really long way, knowing their kids' names and asking how the kids are. Like if I rang Sarah, I've seen Sarah's on here, and I said, how's Autumn getting on at school? Like going back to school? You know, those little things go a really long way with people. They really do. I don't do it enough because I've got a really bad memory. But this is something new that I'm going to try and use this form. I love it. I think it's really good. And then, so communication. So it might be that you send out a WhatsApp to your whole team. You might send them a group email, and maybe a couple of one-to-one text messages to people that have got high PRV, for example. Training. If you're going to do any training in your team, now that might be that you've tagged them in a squad training. It might be that you do a little video for them on how to attach an order to a party, for example. Or it might be actually that you've got a team group set up and you want to do a little live and you want to show them how you did your VIP boxes, whatever. Or even just shared with them something to read, or, you know, a self-development YouTube video, or whatever you like. But you could write those on there. That might be something you'll plan for the month. And then recognition. Maybe pick 3 people that you're going to recognize within your downline this month, and maybe just send them out, I don't know, a postcard. I literally have got a drawer full of these. These were like positive postcards. Some of them are a bit random, not gonna lie. Like there is like a random one that says, don't let yesterday take up too much of today. I quite like that. That's quite cute. But there is like some really random ones. Hold on, let me find it, because I'm like they're a bit these ones aren't so bad. I think I've got some in the drawer that like, oh, I haven't bothered using because they're a bit crackers. But anyway, these just need a stamp, send 3 out a month. And literally you can keep a note in the recognition bit. Right, I've sent one to Kerry, I've sent one to Nick, I've sent one to Sarah. Right, next month I'm going to send one to Una, I'm going to send one to Claire, and I'm going to send one to Kerry. And that way you can like keep a little note of it. And a little postcard in the post is only going to cost you a stamp. And that's probably the cheapest recognition. Or if you really can't afford a stamp, then send them an email, and you just pick 3 people, or a text. And that, again, that doesn't have to be in your front line, could be all the way down. But that literally is like what I would call your leadership focus for your team. You don't need to be doing loads of other stuff. You don't need to be doing all the crazy stuff, because the more you get bogged down with, the less you end up doing. So for me, it's all about doing the basics. I see people do the most amazing, you know, they send out certificates for every person that gets 500 PRV, for example. I would love to be that person, but those certificates would sit. I'm going to show you these. I bought these, sent to my front line. I've got hundreds of them. Little cute bracelets. They're from a company called Wish Strings. They say good vibes attract your tribe. And I bought really nice ones for my directors. And I bought 100 of them. And they're still sitting in my drawer. And some of them, hold on. these ones are done. But I didn't want to send them out, so they were all done. And do you know what? I haven't sent them. I'm never going to be that person that can do that amount of happy mail because it's on such a large scale. And I would love to be that person, but I'm just not. So I send emails instead because it suits my personality. It suits my organization. My organization is shocking. It suits me. So if you love making things and you want to make it all pretty and you want to send them something in the post with glitter and all the rest of it, knock yourself out, do it. I take my hat off to people that can do that. I'm just not that person. Then we've got this. Okay, so this is a monthly leadership form, and it basically is how to use it. So as a leader, if you're getting 500 PRV, it basically is like a step-by-step guide. But this is aimed to directors, but I feel that you guys, this will help you, and hopefully this will help. So I know Sarah said like trying to do all the things. It's just not necessary to do them all, but just having a small group of people to work with, that small focus group, this will literally really, really help you, especially if you struggle with time management. I think that form will help you a little bit, just literally setting you out for the month, making a plan of who you're going to work with. My last little point I'm going to leave you with tonight is don't keep trying to flog a dead horse. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. If you've got team members that are ghosting you, ignoring you, not giving you anything back, just send a message once a month. Let them know you're there. Let them know you're there. But work with the people that are turning up saying, I'd like to work with you, or could I have a call, or how do I do this? Or, they're the people that you literally, I just seen your message. I've got one for you. It's in my drawer. I'll give it to you when I see you. But they're the people that, you want to spend I could feel bad about all the people that I feel like I haven't given enough time to. But actually, when I look at it, how many people are reaching out to me and saying, I'd really like to work with you. I'd really like to have that one-on-one conversation. I'd really like a coaching call, or I'd really like to put some time in with you. And, when people do that, I always make the time to have those calls, and I will always make the time to do it. I need reminding 24/7. It's got a bad memory, but you don't need to feel bad about it. So, if your team are doing nothing, it's time to recruit a new one. Get your recruiting hat on, get your 1,000 PRV, because you want your minimum for your points, and then get out there and find some new team. Go out there and tell people your why. Go and tell people why you're doing Scentsy, why you love Scentsy, draw them in and attract them in. And then, top tip, share it with your team, how you did it. Not because you're bragging, but because that's how you inspire. If I thought about all the things that I share in the Scent Squad and thought, oh, I'm bragging, you know what? People would be thinking that all day long, because I'm always sharing, oh, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing now. It's actually you sharing how you're working your business. And when people will get more inspired by that. And it doesn't matter if you're sharing your PRV. I love seeing when I don't share my PRV very often. I might shout myself out now and again. And, I was number one for PRV last month. And that for me is like, that's never happened. But it also tells me it was also a bad month in the squad, because I'm never number one for PRV. I'm always up there, but I'm never number one for PRV. So, that's a Belisha beacon for me. And that's me with my Scentsy head on as a leader. I'm like, yep, no, we need to do something about that. So hopefully you found something tonight inspiring. Has anyone got any questions? Does anyone want to unmute and ask anything? You've got the floor, the opportunity. And as I say, this is going to become a monthly thing, a monthly training. If any of you have got any lead consultants that are like desperate to be on here because they're really, really like shit hot, and you think they're going to be like an absolute rock star, then obviously they are more than welcome as well for these going forward. It's not, I've put it out to star and superstars because it's all about leadership, and you need to have a team basically to be able to implement these things. Also, if you tell me what you want to work on, what sort of things I can help you with, or the directors can help you with, then we can try and make sure that these are catered to you guys as well. So whether that's, remember, it's about leadership though. It's not about recruiting. It's not going to be about, PRV. This is more about how you can work with your team, things that you can do with your team. So Mike, Kelly and Kerry, yeah, definitely, Sarah, more than welcome. And they definitely will be. I know that they will both be buzzing to get invited onto something like this. So, and that sort of thing, for someone like Kerry and Kerry, I think that will go a really long way, because, as you say, just for them to be thought of in this caliber of people and leaders, they would be buzzing. So if you have got anybody, then by all means invite them on next month. And again, yeah, no problem, Owen. I know that you work different hours now. But thank you for joining us, guys. I will put the recording in the squad group. I might set up a YouTube link that will be like all of the leadership stuff separate. I'm half debating. I'd like to share this because we haven't really. So I'd like to share it. Maybe I might watch it back and then decide whether we share it publicly to the world. But thank you for joining. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will share those 2 forms in. I'm going to share them in the Sense Squad, and I'm going to put them under a leadership folder so that all the leadership stuff is in one place, and then that will make sense for me. But hopefully, I can't wait to see you all shouting out your teams, giving loads of recognition, and showing us all that jazz. And if you've got any questions, my inbox is always open, and then Nix's as well. I know she will be more than happy to hear from you. So thank you as well very much, Nick, for coming on and sharing your journey. And I'll speak to you all soon. Well done, guys. Oh, can't remember how to end the Zoom.